岁月、环境、规则 ，LPL 在不断改变。6年中，有许多人问我，你为什么还在坚持？这局游戏对你究竟意味着什么？
全军出击！
我见过最美的风景，也听过最热烈的欢呼。为了所有这些，我愿意付出一切。
何来联盟？
这局游戏是一段旅途，有人中途停留，也有人会做到最后，而终点只不过是另一个起点。
50的血量，50的血量！
我不懂那么多是非曲折，这局游戏赢就对了。
이번 게임의 낭만은 0부터 100처럼 무명에서부터 이름을 날리는 것이다.
我从来都没有后悔过自己走过的路。这局游戏的魅力就在于创造奇迹。
많은 사람들이 전설을 보는 것에 열광하지만 다른 사람들이 그 뒤에서 흘리는 땀에 대해서는 잘 보지 못합니다. 하지만 이러한 땀이 없었다면 저희는 다시 이곳으로 돌아오지 못했을 겁니다.
欢迎来到英雄联盟。
会变的是人和环境，不变的是游戏最后的胜利画面。
我明白，这场游戏就是成王败寇，但是不到最后，我不会放弃对王冠的追逐。
这局游戏需要牺牲，无私奉献，去成就团队的胜利。
他还需要领袖，不管遇到什么困难，都和同伴一起扛下去。
是我最喜欢的玩具。
LPL 需要年轻的力量，是时候让我们来接管比赛了。想成为这场游戏的主角吗？打败我吧！我们的时代还远没有结束。
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the English broadcast of the Chinese LPL. Tonight, we have two more exciting matches as it is week 1, day number 4 of the LPL. Up first, it's going to be OMG taking on Team WE, two dynasty teams here in the LPL, followed by Fun Plus Phoenix, who will be taking on Snake Esports later on in the day at Snake's new arena in Chongqing. But tonight, we're going to be starting here at the Shanghai Arena in the Superbrand Mall. Hello, everyone. I'm Matthew Stewart. Joining me on the desk tonight is none other than Brento Raz Muhammad, as well as the ever so dashing Indiana Frosco and Black. How are you guys doing today?
Dashing. That's what I get.
Oh, well, guess what? I think we're doing just fine.
Well, that sounds great. Sounds like you two don't want to get to any pleasantries here today, so let's get straight into business. Although the English broadcast did not cover Day 2 and Day 3 of the LPL, there were still 4 games that were played over the course of 2 days. Let's recap those games as fast as we can. Starting off with Tuesday, we had Vici returning to the LPL and being greeted by a 2-0 from Billy Gaming, followed by Fun Plus Phoenix, who took on EDG. But Indiana, that scoreline of 2-0 to EDG did not dictate how that game went.
Yeah, that was not a clean 0-2 from EDG. Fun Plus Phoenix came out of the gate swinging with beautiful macro decisions, just out-lane assigned by EDG, as well as gorgeous team fighting. Pepper certainly comes to mind, the former sub-jungler for RNG. Yihan has now renamed, and he really led this team to an explosive start.
Yeah, early on in game 1, it was a smashing in the favor of Fun Plus Phoenix. It just came down to the fact that during those Baron runs, and the later on team fights, EDG started to bring it on back.
Yeah, I believe it was 2 secured Barons, as well as 2 Elder Drakes stolen by Haro, as well as MVP, Man of the Match Scout, got back-to-back. You can see it in his team fighting here on the Azir. He could not be stopped, and it helped lead EDG to 2-0.
Yeah, he really brought it back, because early on in that game, he was going in 0-4. He was really getting picked on, but those later on team fights, as you can see there, he really found himself in those team fights, doing a lot of damage.
But just like Graves, it was close but no cigar for Fun Plus Phoenix there. And we still had another game played at the A where we had Vici going up against Billy Gaming. Billy Gaming picked up Camille twice in that match and did really well with the champion.
Yeah, that's the thing. Camille's been 100% pick ban priority, and Vici were just like, just give it to Amazing J. It's not like it's his main champion or anything.
Yeah, you look back a year, and Jarvan and Camille seem to be his 2 champions that he went back to. They were like, nah, we can deal with it.
Well, speaking of priority champions, on day number 3 of the LPL, we saw Lee Sin picked up by plenty of teams, as we had Rogue Warriors going up against Top in the first match, followed by Jindong Gaming taking on LGD at their new arena in Hangzhou, but it was LGD that fall 2-0, and Rogue Warriors that picked up the 2-0 as well.
And the reason why we such great Lee Sin performances yesterday is because we had phenomenal Lee Sin players on the map. We had Flawless and Clid, both junglers formerly for Doinby. Of course, it was Flawless this time around for Doinby on the new Rogue Warrior squad. And this guy was sick.
Yeah, he saw a lot of opportunities. He was able to pick him up. A lot of highlight plays for himself. And Doinby, you can see, bring in the mid lane Lulu. The man brought his supportive champions back.
And that's the thing, Rogue Warriors came out, and yes, they took down Top Esports. We expect them to do this. The question will now be, how good are Rogue Warriors still? Was it just the caliber of the opponent that they faced that made them look good, or are they actually a contender for top 3?
Unfortunately, for LGD, however, it was Jindong Gaming that picked up the 2-0 victory in their home crowd at Hangzhou, at the Hangzhou Arena, and it didn't look good for them.
It wasn't just about picking up the victory fish, that was a straight shellacking. Yeah. LGD almost got perfect game, and shout out to JD's support player Mao. He is one of the guys that was on the team last year, has carried over to the team this year. He had a phenomenal Bard performance, pretty much hard carried that team.
Yeah, and I was expecting that to be a much closer race because we saw them playing up against each other just before they went into the top 8 of Demacia Cup. It was really just a clash between the 2 teams. It's turning into a bit of a rivalry, but it seems like Jingdong just keep coming up ahead.
Well, with the recap out of the way, we can go and take a look at the standings now that we are halfway through week 1 of the LPL. And I want to ask you first, Indiana, now that we're halfway through, have things gone as you expected?
I mean, the only real surprise for me was how strong FPX were going to be. We knew that they had so much talent on their roster in terms of individual performances, but I didn't expect them to outthink EDG across the map, which they did time and time again. Unfortunately, Demacia Cup champions, the Goliath of the LPL, it's still EDG.
Yeah, and here's the thing, it's just week 1, so you see Vici already in the bottom, you see IG at the bottom. That's not going to last very long.
Well, let's get straight into today's matches then. First up, we're going to have OMG taking on Team WE. That will be followed by Fun Plus Phoenix taking on Snake later on at Snake's new arena. But let's dive straight into this first match, guys. Team WE returning, going to play their first game in the LPL here for this split. Semi-finalists from the World Championships. What do we think about them?
That's the big one, because WE coming back, this is them trying to restake their claim. They're coming in with a new coaching staff, but that's all. The rest of the team has stuck together as they did the year before, and it feels like it's going to be... I don't want to rule OMG out already, but it feels like WE are coming back and they should be able to take this strongly.
Yeah, that was really interesting conversations, you know, as we were going behind scenes, doing our internal power rankings and trying to figure out what type of language we would use on broadcast for the teams. We were talking about the big 3, the EDGs, the RNGs, the WEs, and then we're super hyped about IG. And the thing is OMG almost got, you know, elbowed out of the conversation, whereas last year, OMG were a Rift Rivals representative. They were supposed to be, you know, maybe a Worlds contender, the dark horse. And suddenly, even though they just lost SMLZ, a lot of us have kind of signed off on them. And the thing is they're starting Xiong today. You know, this is pretty much the same lineup that we saw last year.
And that's really the point. Who is OMG? And, you know, on top of that, we have Team WE coming in with that 4-man core roster, but no Condi, no Son of Baron.
Yeah.
The loved child of China is not going to be playing here today. Is that core roster enough to keep Team WE together?
Not for this game, because I just feel like right now, starting this one off, OMG are the team with a strong roster of Xiong starting up, and Chelly has a very similar style to Smelzy.
Yeah, I feel like we're sleeping a bit on OMG.
Well, we'll have to see how this match is going to pan out. That's going to be coming up very shortly. Team WE going up against OMG. For now, though, let's send it over to our casters to bring you all the action. It's a very blue Rusty as well as Pulse.
Thank you very much, Fish. And oh man, is it good to be back. Fi on the caster desk. And Rusty, you actually feeling blue right now? Because right now you look it.
I don't feel blue. I'm actually excited to be here. But yes, I definitely do look blue. Thank you for the outfit, everyone here in Shanghai. But I'm excited to get in this first match, Pulse. It's set to be a banger.
Oh yeah, it should be. Bangers and masses, we say down under. Look, I've learned some of this. If you haven't seen me for a year, I've just been learning all the Aussie language. But no, super excited for this. Team WE, they should be the favorites in theory. But then you have OMG. and we're like, have they actually been muscled out of the conversation? Well, they have a lineup here that could potentially challenge WE today.
Yeah, it's very curious to see the conversation even on the analyst desk go from, it feels like OMG have been overshadowed by everyone else, yet at the same time, WE not with the same jungler.
Well, before we carry on the conversation, we are going to listen from 957 and his expectation for the next year. In a second. But anyway, so 957 talking about his expectations. We're talking about our expectations now for Team WE. And they're a team that last year obviously looked super dominant, went to Worlds, semi-finalists, but now they have this new coach in. Does that change the identity of the team? And we were like, hey, this could be a team that doesn't really change what they do in terms of their roster, but they actually have changed it up now.
Yeah, the conversation's much more fundamental here for Team WE, changing, well, firstly, the jungler coming in this game is going to be different, but the coaching stuff, as you mentioned, things are different for WE, but we don't know exactly what that means yet, and that's the curious part, because as the season progresses, particularly this set as well, we get the first example, and we got to see many more examples of what exactly that change is.
Yeah.
Is Vinylcat as the coach now going to be an emotional coach? Is he a draft coach? Is he an analyst? You know, every single coach attacks it differently. They all do it in their own unique ways. We have to see how he actually performs as the coach.
Now, we are actually going to listen from 957 on his expectations for the next year this time.
这个赛季目标的话就是拿一个令我们队伍都满意的成绩吧。新的赛季我觉得是一个新的开始，然后每个队感觉实力也都更进了一步，我觉得挑战还是蛮大的。
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting one there, and talking about those expectations for the next year, because there will be a lot of challenges in the league, not only just in terms of those individual players, but also some of the new teams coming in.
Yeah, and frankly, the first challenge for Team WE starts right now. They have to go up against OMG, and there's a lot of question marks behind this roster. We briefly touched on it on the desk. It seems that both analysts are very high on OMG in this best of three between them with Team WE. I wasn't so sure about that at first, and then I did see the jungle change, and now I really don't know what the answer is, and that's what makes this so exciting.
I also just want to know what he plays as well, because we just don't know anything about this guy. As we get into Champions Select, WE and OMG, we have a few bans already, so got a Malzahar coming through, along with the Cogmore from OMG. On the opposite side, Ornn, of course, classic ban in the top lane. Alistair as well will be joining in.
Yeah, Malzahar and Cogmore are very particular bans here. Mystic seems to be a very good Cogmore player. We know that he has been in the past, but choosing to go for that ban on the blue side when they have the first pick, they're just going for target bans. Again, it feels like red side, blue side, same old, same old. It doesn't really matter what season we're in.
Yeah, we've got some meta bans as well joining them. So we've got the Callista, the Camille, obviously found themselves to be super dominant picks so far in this season. And OMG insta-lock on that Ezreal.
Yeah, the Ezreal's there. There's champions like Azir up and available, however, for Team WE if they choose to respond with that. There is a Jarvan being hovered by them. Expectations is that is locked. And the question now is, do they want the Azir? Or do they want to go for a Wombo early, get something like an Orianna? Do they have a higher priority on a support like Braum now that Alistar has been banned by them specifically?
I mean, that's a great question, Rusty, heading into this Champions Select. As you said, new coach coming in. Does that change their identity? Will they actually pick winning lanes now so they have something in the early game to transition into their amazing late game, the team fights, etc., that we all know is the hallmark of WE's play?
Well, Mystic hasn't changed a bit since Worlds.
No, is the question. Is the answer.
Cogmore gone, Ezreal picked. Callista also taken away from him as OMG's third ban, and he says, well, I play Zarya. Always been a Zarya main. May as well just lock that one in for ourselves and WE. I mean, it is an AD carry in the second rotation, which is perfectly fine. The question here is, why would they prioritize the Zarya? And is it because, well, it's not because Ezreal is going into the jungle, it's AD carry. They just seem to want to pick their AD carry early.
Well, that is a question moving forwards for sure. Jarvan, of course, going to Melon. I mean, questions of Melon is what type of player is he? How is he going to integrate into the team? I mean, he's integrated into the LPL because the Jarvan is definitely an LPL pick. But on the opposite side, OMG, Lee Sin coming out, no real surprise. Got World 6 starting on this one, so very much a World 6 pick, along with his Elise, of course. So I wonder, has the World 6, the crazy one that we all know and love, actually going to be reigning a little in this game? Because he would go for level 3 tower dives and sometimes win or sometimes lose his team the game.
If he could choose, he would do it at level 1. Now, this hover is very important as it's going to get locked in. A champion that we haven't spoken about thus far in the draft, but everyone knows her name, Zoe. Very strong champion. Now, we don't know what the mid lane matchup is going to be, and I have this feeling, and whether it's correct or not is on OMG to decide, not for us, but he wants to play against Zoe because he doesn't care. There's just this inkling that Icon is one of those players that has so much confidence that he'll see a Zoe and say, I raise you and just kill you a lot.
I wonder what he's got prepared for us, because that would be very exciting. I mean, LeBlanc's going to be taken away from him. Icon, if you don't know him, very much an assassin player, likes to get up in your face. So LeBlanc in his champion.
The other characters that are quite good are Cassiopeia, does very well. Ryze, if you're able to take Cleanse as well in the matchup, does super well. Unsealed Spellbook Ryze is pretty much everywhere on Summoner's Rift at the moment. So there's options there for Icon. It's just more about him as a player having that confidence, having that swagger will help a lot into the matchup, just knowing he can do it. Where everyone else at home will be like, oh god, it's another Zoe, we're done.
Yeah, OMG definitely have the tools to be able to counter that one. Rakan banned out against Ben here, big pick for him. Vladimir taken away from OMG, as you said, Unsealed Spellbook, very much a pick right now on Vladimir, team top lane, mid lane. And final ban out from OMG. What are you expecting, Rusty?
At this stage, a support ban wouldn't be too far off. You're looking at the next pick for WE, though. They may have the priority on supports. And again, I mentioned Braum as the second pick. It does feel like one of the remaining of the strong champions. There's no Ornn to counterpick with the Braum, though, so it's just for the laning pick.
Come on, Rusty, catch up. I was like, what's it going to be? Boom, coming with a prediction, play-by-play is 1-0 to the Colorcasters.
I did say support.
All right, you got like 25% of the vote. That's fine. WE, they're looking at a potential Gnar pick. We saw Gnar the other day into Jax, actually. LGD decided to pick Jax into the top lane. Gnar actually did surprisingly well in that matchup.
Yes, LGD did decide to pick a Jax into the top lane. LGD. But the Gnar is here for Team WE this time. 957 can play pretty much anything. He's super versatile. He doesn't know if he's against the Shen, though, or if the Shen is actually going support, which can flex. Xiang is a Shen player, very much a prolific Shen player at that.
I just don't know if Xiang actually wants a pick that's going to be aggro in the top lane, or he just wants to match it. But with the current hover and the lock-in of Maokai, we do know he's just going to take another tank into the top lane against Gnar.
Unsurprisingly, of course. Now, he has picked himself into the Gnar, as you mentioned. Not the best matchup for any tanks to be in, but he should be okay. The question isn't necessarily ever going to be about will Xiang survive. He just will, in some capacity, for better or worse, as the matchups dictate.
We do have an Azir lock-in, though, and you're saying Icon, we'll see if he can kill the mid lane. How does Azir do into Zoe?
He has to run Cleanse regardless, so it will be okay. The worry is what Zoe gets in terms of items with her W. If she finds any extra heals or anything to reduce the amount of poke that's being output by Icon, then things start to turn around. There is an amount of RNG in play in this 1v1 matchup, and we'll have to see how that does affect it. But Icon, he's got his Cleanse. He's able to outrange a little bit on the Zoe if he can use the minions appropriately.
And Braum was the final lock-in from WE. So we have our full rosters on both sides, OMG and W. Which one are you favoring? If we took the nameplates away, you prefer composition A, composition B?
I would probably be looking at Team WE's composition and saying that I like it quite a lot. When you look at OMG on the other side, Maokai's good. They have the tankiness. World 6, he's on Lee Sin, so that's just a big plus for OMG in general. Icon with a very strong champion. Azir has 100% pick ban in LPL at the moment. And then you look through the bottom lane, like, it's good. It's all good. I see it, and then I feel like Team WE wins some of the lanes there. And that's exactly what Team WE needs to win in League of Legends, is to win their lanes for the first time in forever, and then they do the rest of it seamlessly anyway.
That is fair. I mean, to be honest, the way that OMG win this game is through that relentless aggression that we see from Team OMG, right? Because we look at all the teams, and I know like Chinese aggression has kind of become a meme now, but OMG, they are the aggression team. So if they're going to beat WE, they should probably just double down on that.
Yeah, note, of course, that Fire Lolly is on the bench for OMG, and at any moment he could pop his head out and start playing, and it's a different style of play to that of World 6, who is the starting jungler for them. And Jekko, that's right, in game number 1. It's aggressive for OMG in this first game. Xiang's very good at holding on. Chelly is always very good at holding on with 5. You may not know Chelly, but just think of him as SMLZ in terms of how he wants to play the game out. They should be very similar in style. And that means that Icon on World 6 can play aggressive, can work in tandem, and potentially even be unlocked to make some big plays. And that is what OMG need to be successful.
I'm actually very excited to see how Chelly does, because SMLZ, very much a player who is like, you know what you're getting from SMLZ every single game. He's going to do well, he'll get to the late game, he'll position well, and he'll probably be one of the big carries on the team. Chelly, however, got him from one of the top of the ladders in solo queue, and I mean, there's a lot of hype behind this guy in terms of his mechanics, but we'll see what he can do as we head on to the rift between OMG and Team WE. It is so nice to be in the arena, Rusty.
I know. Actually hearing the crowd is very refreshing.
It's actually deafening in the arena right now. The crowd is absolutely packed, and who wouldn't be, to be honest? I would definitely, if I wasn't casting today, 100% you would see me in that audience. OMG and WE, sign me up.
Yeah, they're playing against each other. The crowd should be packed. You can see the signs even on the bottom left just there. Everyone out in support of their own teams. And as we do walk out on the Rift and everything pans out and fans out nice and casually, there are a few things that we obviously have to look towards. And basically, the way that League of Legends works right now is you count the inspiration trees,
right,
and you just try and see how many you can get here. And the odd one out currently is Icon. He's the only one on OMG that doesn't have an inspiration tree, and there's minion dematerializers everywhere as well.
I mean,
that
to
has
be
been
fair,
cropping up a lot.
He's the one doing the inspiring for the team, so it's not like he needs the tree to, you know, double down on that fact. But
do we call that inspiring, what Icon does?
Yeah. 100%. Well, if he starts killing Xie in the mid lane, 100%.
That's a battle cry. I'll give you that. That is inspiring.
But no, I am looking at the minion dematerializer in the bottom lane from Chelly. We're just seeing the double relic shield meta just constantly in that bottom lane.
Yeah, so the minion dematerializer for OMG is on their AD carry, which is fairly normal, and for Xiang in the top lane, which means that they will be able to pick a particular type of minion, take it down much more successfully every single time they do it. The way that you could operate with that, if you like, is if you're a champion that struggles at killing cannons, you can use it on the cannon minion to kill that one immediately. Firstly, to get wave control, and secondly, because then you will be more successful in future at killing the same type. That works for Maokai very well, who can clear the small minions super efficiently, but not the cannons. Same thing for Zoe in the mid lane. She wants to clip out the back wave and the front wave, but cannon's a bit of a pest.
I'm actually very excited to see how Xiang does into 957, because tank matchup into Na, not great. You know my heart belongs to top lane, Rusty, so I'm going to talk about this one all day. And we actually get to see it as well, because I was like, are we ever going to see top lane ever? Because Xiang, if he's actually able to get through this early laning phase against 957, the minion dematerializer will pay off greatly.
Yeah, it definitely will, and as you saw the lane just for that short moment, it's setting up nicely for Xiang, as long as the junglers aren't going to come into play at all. World 6 and Melon are on the exact same side of the Rift. Melon is walking around in the jungle, trying to at least have some presence, and it doesn't look like he wants to commit to anything. So, as top lane pans out, should be perfectly fine.
Sure, though we should keep our eyes on Melon, because specifically in the early game, Team WE, they look towards Connie. Connie is generally the man getting things going in the top, the mid, or even the bottom lane more recently. So if Melon, if he's more of a farm jungler, we don't really know yet. He's got Jarvan, so you have to assume he'd be looking to put some pressure down onto one of these lanes.
Yeah, definitely. The proactivity is something that's almost necessary for Team WE to succeed. And when you look at the lanes that he could gank, the places that he could go, you feel like there's options available. Mid lane is always possible just because it's Zoe, but there is a cleanse there, so they have to trade beforehand. Top lane, it's about to bounce back, so give it 2 minutes, and you probably want to go top lane. Bottom, it's a brawl.
And there's a World 6 as well, of course, followed through with the stand behind me on Ben, and will burn his flash, so we'll call that one a successful gank for OMG.
Safety flash from Ben as well. There was no taunt coming out from 5, just errs on the side of caution. Doesn't want to die this early on and chooses to flash away. Unfortunate for the side of WE, but great work from World 6. He doesn't dive the base super early. That was a proto belt.
That was a proto belt, of course. At least it wasn't a teleport, but Icon's still unhappy with how this lane is progressing.
Yeah, it doesn't get better once he hits 6
All right, Rusty,
as well.
I have a question for you. You're laning against Zoe in mid lane. I know you play a lot of mid lane. So what is the most tilting thing that Zoe can pick up in the laning phase?
Oh man, so there's 2 answers to this, and I'm sure that everyone can relate to the first one, and that is getting the Gunblade or the Proto Belt in some way that it just messes it up. You don't know that they have it. World 6 currently looking mid as well.
Though Icon does engage on Xie, he has been seen out by that ward. Xie with a nice little sidestep, and you just wander back into mid lane. Oh! What? What was that? Oh no! What a turnaround from Xie! Icon didn't see it, we didn't see it. World 6 now getting aggressed on by Melon, and all of a sudden this has gone horrifically wrong for OMG.
They tried to gank it, it was just a bit of pressure. Icon wanted to get a free recall in, have Lee Sin nearby. Xie wants none of that, he flashes forwards, and so much damage at the level 5. Now 6 Zoe in this case to pick up the kill. Not exactly a 1v2, but a very nice turnaround to find the opportunity.
So it turns out it wasn't what Xie was picking up, it's actually just his Q that was the tilter in the mid lane. So we'll take a look at this one more time as well. 6 misses the Q. That seems fine, but Xie somehow lands this. Was this from Flash?
Yeah, he flashes forwards and auto attacks at the same time. Of course, the auto attack being instant from Zoe when using all of these spells. So lots of damage, burst at the exact same moment. Well done from Xie.
Yeah, well, Icon probably not feeling very good about this because he's like, yeah, I'll pick into the zone, no problem, we'll just leave it up, and now he's kind of got some egg on his face, so we'll see if he can actually do anything else in this lane now. He's actually pushing very far into that jungle, placing down a very deep ward, making sure that Melon can't get him from the top side.
And doing Raptors. If a mid laner is committing to doing Raptors and also failing gloriously in this case, generally it's a sign that they're not doing too well in mid or they're doing too well in the middle lane, so you have the opportunity to leave. Icon timed it well actually to catch the wave, and this is a sign that he doesn't want to fight the Zoe anymore. He's not happy with how that played out. He doesn't want to do it ever again.
Oh,
but you know what?
This is just
you don't get a choice, do you?
Nope. Well, this is just a fun gaming experience in the mid lane. I actually wish we could just not look at mid lane because this is actually tilting me.
It's close to depressing.
Yeah. Well, let's see how the bottom lane's doing because we got the first recall out from Chelly. He's just gone for the standard build there from the Ezreal, the mostly blue build.
Yeah, actually, Ezreal's change up their builds here and there depending on who the player is. Uzi's more renowned for going towards the pickaxe before completing the Sheen, usually just to have extra auto attack based damage. Looks like Chelly's just gone for the mana sustain, gone for the poke. He wants to hit the Qs and continue to proc that Klepto. At the same time, while we are looking at bottom lane, we have the BF Sword and the Sightstone Rushes on each respective support. An unsealed spellbook for the Shen. He has a teleport.
He does have that,
That's the other thing.
That is definitely a thing we have to look out for. Plus the level 6, this guy's going to be teleporting all over the map. So you'd have to expect as soon as level 6 is... I'm not sure World 6 actually got seen out there because he just popped his head out of the bush.
There was a back ping exactly where he was. I am inclined to believe that he was spotted, unfortunately. But the blue buff's there.
One leg out the bush.
Don't really know if OMG were going to be able to successfully get the kill either way with Melon nearby.
Yeah, but to finish that thought, I feel like OMG, as soon as they hit that level 6, especially in the bottom lane, that we should see some skirmish plays out from them. And that should be their way to open up again. World 6 keeps just popping his head out of the bush and he's like, don't worry guys, it was so fast I'm sure they didn't see. No, he is following up into 957, he flashes away, he's doing the safety dance.
Yeah, Lee Sin very good at taking down Na when he is in mini form. And of course the demolish there for Xiang. A bit of extra chunk onto that structure. Now, 957 does have a teleport if he chooses to use it. Icon in an awkward position has to dodge. And that teleport being down now gives an opportunity for Xiang with the reset wave if he chooses to go back to base and walk somewhere. Now the Drake's there, the Herald's not too far away from existing, but most importantly that Drake is infernal. They could keep that teleport, they could use that and make a play if they want, OMG.
That's what you're expecting. Still, I haven't seen a whole lot of mana. He was pushing it at the right times, but he hasn't really made any of his own proactive plays. It's generally been off the back of the rest of his lane is doing something. Though I look towards Xiang, he's about to get pincered. Melon is around the top side. Got the Gnar coming through, the lockdown. It's a constant CC chain, but Xiang should get a bit of help back from the Sap Magic. In comes the cavalry though, but this is currently a tank fight, so it's going to take a while. Unfortunately, Melon trapped in his own cataclysm and will be going down.
Yeah, Melon goes down. There was a random redemption from Xie in the middle of that fight also, but the skirmish still goes to OMG, playing around the fact that WE saw a chance, they took an opportunity, but it's a Maokai in the end anyway. He still has a stopwatch after all of that. If things went a little bit more awry for OMG, he still would have been okay. You have to question what WE were really going for in that instance. Forcing Maokai back to base, they needed the kill, not just the force back.
Ooh, Icon.
Oh, he's asleep.
Oh, go to sleep, Icon. Get out of there. And Xie, he's not going to continue chasing. He still has his flash, but it would have been a flash for flash had that even been a best case scenario for him. Icon will take a trip back to base.
There is a world where you want to force flashes like that because you can just go pick up the opponent's one as Zoe as well, but didn't want to commit to it. Was content knowing, of course, that Icon got away. And Xie, he just wants to keep pushing mid lane, keep going forwards and keep pressuring. And with that mid lane control, with the control of the minion waves, everything gets upset for OMG. The tempo's completely gone on the Rift, and we came into this set saying it's Icon's responsibility to step up and start being a big carry force for them. Well, he's not able to do that at all because they're against a Zoe.
It's actually pretty unfortunate because you look at top side, look at bottom side, you're like, actually, it's going pretty well. You've got the teleport coming through from Fire, they're able to win these skirmishes, they can react to any aggressive play that Team WE make. And then mid lane's actually going really badly, and that, as you said, upsets the equilibrium of the game for Team WE, for OMG actually, for both teams. Otherwise, OMG would be ahead right now. Got Ben and Melon actually tag teaming up in the jungle.
Yeah, and that mid lane, as we mentioned, you know, the difference, and perhaps everywhere else on OMG is doing perfectly well, which they are. It is that mid lane that upsets all of this.
Ooh,
OMG
5 with a flash taunt coming in there. Icon knocked up as well. World 6 is trying to get a range for a Q, but the whole team has actually arrived into this fray, and Melon again unfortunately will go down.
And that's the teleport advantage from OMG. The opportunity comes up. They don't even choose to go straight to the Drake with the Maokai. He's actually walking back up to the top side, and it feels like with the jungler dead, they might have enough control. Yet OMG choose not to take the objective in this situation. They'll just take the pick.
Yes, they will. And bot lane will carry on farming. Mid lane will carry on farming. I'm a little surprised that WE didn't try and just push towards the dragon there. What could be the reasons for that?
I guess they were too afraid. Once, like, Xie was still pushing Icon in, and he has a lot of control, as you're currently seeing.
Sure.
At the same time, like, Melon, he's super behind. He was dead. He was the weakest member on the team, and perhaps OMG's concern is exactly that.
Yeah.
Like, the weakest member died. Yes, it's the Smite, but he's so... like, he's not able to contribute as much as the rest of the team, and that's a concern for them.
Yeah, definitely meant OMG, not WE, because that would make absolutely no sense. But yeah, 100%, because World 6 should be able to do it. Maybe he'll just look to try and take control of the area. It's worth noting the vision around that area as well is very much WE focused in this situation. So OMG probably want to clear some of that out beforehand. Though Melon's actually just walked back over there, and since he got fire support in the form of Zoe, just being highly obnoxious in the jungle, he can do whatever he wants.
It's just a barrage of bubbles coming out of WE at the moment. Anywhere Xie is, obnoxious amounts of spells are being thrown from the Zoe. Here we go again. Not sure what the plan is here for the old Maokai. Just wants the ult out.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, as soon as that magic comes up, he's just going to actually, just get all of his health back and win the training against 957. So the time in which Na is just bullying Maokai and tank matchups completely is well and truly done. And all of those sacks that minion dematerializer have been used, and he's actually got a CS lead, so I feel like that paid off for him.
Yeah, there is still the Black Cleaver spike for 957 if he wants to start playing around it. If you're feeling real cheesy, we've seen some Blade of the Ruined King Nars to contribute explicitly to split pushing, but they do need him for team fighting in this game. WE, they've hit the Drake, and World 6, he's onto it.
WE are going to stop, letting it reset, but World 6 is going to get his Q cooldown back again in just a second. This will be a still attempt. Oh, he's drowsy. And he has to flash away as well, just in case he got tagged by the paddle star. Top lane trying to convert this one into a kill onto 957, but 5, he's actually given up the ghost, and Xiang will join him.
Yeah, 5 ults in. Remember that 5 still has teleport on his unsealed spellbook Shen, so any plays like that, he can still come back to the bottom lane, try and prevent this dive from happening. That's exactly what he's doing. And suddenly WE's counterplay is not as easy to achieve.
It's just because there's so many teleports on the side of OMG, but they're actually still going to try this one. The Spirit's Refuge is down. Chelly gets knocked up, but the Arcane Shift follows through anyway. And we've got the kick coming through. Fantastic ultimate from Mystic, mitigating that one. Bot lane's got a full 1 death. Melon jumps under the tower. 957's got this tower aggro, but not for much longer. 5 will also fall. In comes the Emperor of Shurima. Picks up 1, turns it around. 420 gold over to Xie. And Icon, 1 versus 4 in this situation. Barely got any mana left, but he'll get them all away. Icon will get out alive.
Icon's lucky to be alive. Plays it super well at the back end of that team fight, but WE still come out on top. They make the proactive moves, and once again the teleports being mistimed between top laners does start to make the difference. But this time WE, when they make the play, when they go for the objective, it's actually for an objective, not just a pick like what OMG got in their last teleport move.
And Xian got all of that time to farm as well. Like, the actual CS difference is starting to open up significantly in the top lane. He's also just allowed to go Righteous Glory very early into the game as well, because it's not going to affect him. But we can take a look at this one. Whereas 5 comes down. This is still the setup from Team WE, seeing if they can kill Chelly before there's a reaction from the team of OMG.
Yeah, and they engage super aggressively. Melon flashes out. Mystic is the player that does play this exceptionally. The timing on that ultimate was exquisite. 5 still had his stopwatch, so he was going to be okay there in the end, but except for the fact that Mystic exists. And this is the part where, you know, OMG, they're feeling it a little bit. Xie just pops up around the corner and 1 hits World 6, and they're no longer feeling anything besides pain. And Icon has to try and get out of there.
Man, there's a part of me right there that says, ooh, Icon, maybe you could have altered the other direction, knocked someone into the tower, and yes, it would have been like a My Life at Aya moment, but you may have gotten 2.
That's an Alawi moment from you, Pulse.
Yes,
I don't agree with you, but I feel like you're seeing montages where no one else is.
Hey, it's like you either create a montage or become montage material. And with Alawi in the meta, then I think I'm allowed to say that.
You are allowed to say it whenever you want.
Whether you agree with it is another thing entirely.
Exactly.
Top side, WE will be taking away the Herald. And this should go over to them, but there is a counter push in the bottom lane, so that's a lot of minions being denied, though. As I say that, 957 arrives.
And the Rift Herald goes over completely free to Team WE. The trade isn't available. It isn't there at all. There is no Drake to be seen. Pressure down on the bottom side of the map is good for OMG as far as minion waves are set up. But once again, with no Drake, with no Herald anymore, because WE have got it. There's no Baron yet. We're only 16 minutes into the game. It doesn't really feel like anything will pan out. In fact, it feels like we've gone into some really wacky version of laning phase currently.
Currently, it looks like OMG are just going Australia lanes, but they'll continue farming for a little bit. And next Drake is also Ocean, so yes, it would be nice to have, but at the same time, don't necessarily have to fight over it. Though, do we want to see OMG continue fighting? Because right now we've got a pretty even game apart from that Infernal Dragon.
They have the opportunity to try and scale up a little bit more. Just once again, having the Azir there, super good as he gets towards his 2-item spike. He has got the Nash's Tooth now, but there's a bit of a concern in front of you.
Yeah, that's okay. Sure. Like, Icon just loses all of his health.
Yeah.
If I didn't body block that, he was a dead man.
And Xie said it for me. Because once again, yes, you need Icon to scale, but how much can Icon get if they're just going to sit here and continue to lane almost as per normal? Honestly, Xie is so strong that he will bully Icon away, he will push him out, and the opportunity now arises for Melon with that Rift Herald to place it down.
Yep.
Xie picks up teleport.
To be honest, OMG just don't want to be in this toxic game of dodgeball for the rest of their lives. Because even 5 is starting to feel the hurt as well of those paddle stars. Herald's just going to do a little jig. World 6, Melon's going to see him, but World 6 has definitely spotted Melon. Or he wants it.
That was well done, though, from World 6, bringing the red buff into the bush. So, yes, Lee Sin was visible, but the buff was not, its health bar was not. And Melon chooses to be cautious. He chooses to back away and just respect the fact that it was theirs. They get this one.
All right, this is our midterm evaluation of Melon. How do you think Melon has done so far in the game, Rusty?
He is aptly named. In my Australian opinion, anyway.
That only means something in the UK, and Australia, and maybe America.
He is fine. I'm not like, I'm comparing him to Condi, so what's my answer really going to be? He has contributed to the map.
All right, I'll check in another 15 minutes.
He has also been caught out of position, but it's also not entirely his fault. So Melon's just been okay.
Okay, that works. All right, back to the mid lane, where we constantly see Xie just pushing in.
Yeah, and 210 CS he was at 17 minutes for Xie as well.
Has he been taking, I want to say Wraiths, but Raptors?
I think he's been taking pretty much everything that he can get near.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, but he's got a lot of farm. He's got a lot of gold. He's got 2 kills as well. He's got 2 completed items. And that's why we compare mid laners right now. Have a look at Icon's items. Compare that to Xie. Notice that there is an entire item in difference.
Look at your mid laner, now back to mine.
Sadly, he is not mine.
No. Still stopwatch available for Xie, so hasn't even been in a situation where he's needed to pop that, or even felt threatened in this lane, because he can harass from half a kilometer away.
Yep. He's got Ignite now as well on his W. We're just keeping tabs on it, in case anyone wants to know. And his teleport that he started with is an unsealed spellbook, now switched to heal. Bit of extra team fighting presence, keeping alive Mystic as well if he chooses.
Now is this a fight that OMG... That was a whiff from Xie. Is this a team fight that OMG want over this dragon?
It is a team fight that OMG would be very much risking the game on if they choose to take it. They can. They obviously can't right now. But they have opportunities. World 6 is big. He is 3-1 as Lee Sin. There is still a lot of farm there for pretty much everybody on the Rift, and teleport's there for both top laners. So if they find a pick, then absolutely. It's not a teleport ward, but it is a ward on the blue buff. They will see it spawn soon.
He's going to go back to farming. He needs to do a little bit of catch-up work as well. He's actually got the completed Mirror Mana. A couple of biscuits in his inventory as well, courtesy of Kleptomancy.
Yeah, he's very strong. With the upgraded Targons as well, there is a real world where he's actually just super hard to kill unless it's someone like Zoe hitting him directly. The Jarvan and the Gnar have a bit of a harder time now in locking him down and taking him apart when Shen is there with the shield. 5 has hard committed to teleport on his Shen support, by the way. There is no instance where I've seen him have something other than that for most of this game. You know, Exhaust would do wonders against champions like Xayah and Jarvan and Gnar. But he really wants to have some global presence. Yet he is sitting with his team.
True. Though they haven't really looked for big on team fights yet, so there is a world in which he uses the teleport and it's like, you know what, now is a good time to use the exhaust or bring out the exhaust for the next fight. So 5 actually just loses all of his HP to Xie.
big trouble every time they get near Zoe, and it's for placing vision that Xie is now punishing them. And the thing with 5, like, yes, he's a bit out of position in that instance, but he's trying to alleviate pressure in other places of the map so that he can then rotate to them. He has his ult, he has teleport. He can actually go towards the Maokai lane with World 6, and they can try and kill the Gnar and still have presence elsewhere on the map. But right now they don't have vision control. Look at all of the red wards through the river. Entirely Team WE. It's so hard for OMG to do anything right now.
And this is very much the cornerstone of the WE play right here in their playbook, is just strangle the vision, play it slow. And usually that's courtesy of Condi, but right now the rest of the teams are just kind of pulling their own weight.
Yeah.
And OMG, they haven't been as aggressive as I was expecting. I mean, World 6, he's not gone balls to the wall aggression, though he has done very well in this game, collecting kills at least for himself.
Yeah, he's been pretty close to his typical self, not the over-aggressive one that we saw when he first joined the LPL, which was pretty nuts. So I'm glad that we haven't seen that one, as exciting as it is. So that's good for OMG. Again, like, you're right, maybe they're not being super aggressive, and we highlighted at the start of this set that that's how you probably will have to beat WE, is by throwing them around, making them do crazy things, or forcing them into decisions that they don't want to have by being aggressive, by being proactive. And watch as WE, as the defenders start to buckle under the pressure. None of that is really happening. It's all, can Zoe kill us? Or can we actually dodge Zoe's spells and maybe then we can fight? But that's still a maybe.
I mean, I think you just hit the nail on the head there, Rusty, to be honest. It's just all about the Zoe. The Zoe is zoning away with the Sleepy Trouble bubbles. We've got the teleport in the bottom lane and lockdown as well with Xiang's W. And it's going to be a long death unless he flashes away, in which he will. 957 on a run. I don't think the rest of the team is really going to close in around them, though. Icon is not looking to try and contest him escaping the jungle, though he has gone Mega Gnar, crunches over the wall. And OMG just have to walk on back.
957 used his ult, used his flash, but he cleanly escapes, really, as the end result. Has still got that teleport. They traded flashes between top lane, as Shen doesn't have the shield, doesn't have the ultimate there. Yes, he still has the teleport, but now he's just grouped up. And that was the one opportunity that OMG had, not even to get an objective like a Baron. It was actually just to try and get a 4v5 so that they can maybe pressure to get vision for the Baron.
Yeah.
And they don't even get that. It's still denied.
It's still a big question mark to me, because it's like, yes, 5 went down with his teleport, but maybe Icon also could have just cut off one of those escape routes to come in, because this is, at the end of the day, a support and a tank trying to kill a Gnar, who's got ultimate coming up, and also going into Mega Gnar very shortly. Like, over a prolonged chase, unless you have a Blade of the Ruin King and James Renekton, it's probably not going to happen.
It's very difficult to take him down, and when you look at his next items, it's going to be even harder to continue to catch him as he continues to kite. Gnar, a big deal. Especially with all the farm that pretty much everybody has. It does feel like a communal agreement that this game will hit mid-game with 2 items on every carry, and we'll just have a big team fight. 957, here comes the Maokai.
And here comes the Cat. I mean, Xiang this time has arrived with more firepower, and 957 has just walked away. 957 is actually teleporting out. Xiang's used all the CC. Oh, not like that. Oh, the last minute. 957 will go down. It just came off cooldown.
Completely denied. The cooldown reduction from the Maokai is enough to make the difference. 957 is being picked on constantly, and Team WE, the Scuttle Crab wasn't theirs, it was OMG, so if they went to the Baron, everyone would know they'd start to come back. And yes, there was distance to cover. WE showing so much respect, so much reservation, they're almost afraid to pull the trigger, to take the plunge and go for that objective or the big play. They're waiting for OMG to make a mistake. But that's 2 ganks in a row on 957. Someone do something.
Because ultimately, it's just a drop in the ocean for both WE and OMG. It's like, well, bot lane died out. There's a bit of excitement for the last 10 minutes, and now let's just resume farming. Let's just go back to lanes, wait for the next objective, which should presumably Mountain Dragon. And if not, then just be prepared that Baron could be a thing.
I didn't answer your question on what is the most annoying Zoe thing, and the answer is that I actually play support more than I play mid lane at the moment, and when a Zoe at level 3 gets redemption and uses it on bottom lane, because it's pretty much global, I'm pretty sure, that's very annoying. And then when they get a second one at level 4, you question your existence on Summoner's Rift.
It is very far. Like, it is more than like a Ziggs ultimate level 1. It's like, she doesn't even really need to move from a lane, right?
No.
Yeah, that feels pretty bad.
Yeah. That's a lot longer than redemption range.
So I think what we're saying here, guys, is we're expecting to see a Zoe ban in Game 2. Because it doesn't matter even if Icon's saying I can style on you. Though, Maokai's about to go bed bedtime.
The taunt missed, so that's an opportunity for WE if they choose to keep going forwards. Shia's positioning was very awkward after he got to sleep. He wasn't able to contribute to the team fight, so they're cautious. They play it safe once again. And still the pressure is there. The Drake is what both teams are looking at. A fight this time is what OMG are looking at, much more so than the last.
AD carries his trading blows, not really doing very much because overheal is quite excellent from Mystic, of course, with that build. And he's just getting bigger and bigger. He's 307 farm right now, though he's taking a lot of damage. Shelly goes night-night and got the body block in from the massive front line. Here comes a Cataclysm, and the soldiers will try and disperse the fight. In comes World 6 once more, but he does one out as well. Xiang, oh no. He goes to sleep, and he comes back up, slammed into the wall. Mystic picks up the kill. Icon, what? Mystic finishes him up at the sidelines. Five will try and get his own kill here, and we'll get that one down, but it's just a single return kill as Mystic obliterates him on the front lines. Shelly, the only combat-ready person still alive.
There was such good poke from OMG. Chelly did work onto Mystic, and then just gets destroyed. Once again, it was the sleep from Xie that kicked the fight off. It's the burst from Xie that pushes Chelly away at the end. WE, they get the team fight. They push forwards, and now they have the eyes set on the inhibitor.
This will be a big push as well. World 6, again, will have to ward hop away. At least he's outside of range of being blasted by Xie, but still, middle tower goes down, courtesy of WE.
And that's only because Xie doesn't have flash that he was out of range as well. So WE, they wait for that team fight. They wait for the one moment that OMG make a mistake. It looks patient, and that's because it very much is. But they find it, and they get an inhibitor from it, and that's exactly what you need. The fight starts here. The reason that this fight starts is because Chelly was asleep and all of the tanks tried to simultaneously body block, and it gives Jarvan the availability to go forwards. 957 for good measure, of course. Doesn't want to use the W, just ults him for the instant stun. And then Mystic goes up big, finds Icon, who is still pretty strong at this stage in the game relative to how his laning phase went. The opportunity is there for WE to keep going forwards, though, because Mystic played it well.
And as strong as Icon is, Xie is stronger, and as is Mystic. So as you can see from the damage in that team fight, we're now 5-7, the perfect scoreline. And in the mid lane, it's already an open inhibitor. We're looking towards the Mountain Dragon now, though. This could be good timing, actually, out from OMG, unless we were able to turn this into something on the top side. Has been watered out by OMG, including the crab going down. So OMG, despite losing that fight, will pick up the Mountain Dragon.
Yeah, just capitalizing on the recalls from Team WE in that instance. And you're right, the timing was good to go for the Drake. They are able to get it completely free. But WE have control of the top side river. They're now going to clear all of the vision that OMG has on top of the Baron. Xiang has to probably teleport in. That feels like the goal of WE here by sitting in this bush. They want to bait out the teleport at the very least, so that there's no pressure bottom lane. There is currently no pressure bottom lane. Xiang walks. WE now maybe look for a fight mid instead.
As long as they can just connect one Sleepy Trouble Bubble onto someone, and they might be able to kick this one off. Xie just hopping back and forth. It's honestly just a matter of time. I mean, that's just the thing with Zoe. You just wait in mid lane, and as long as you're there, someone's going to get hit. It doesn't matter if it's a tanker or it's a carry. It gives an opening for Melon to maybe do something. WE getting a little bit restless, though. We'll start off the Baron, but he really just wants to turn. Xiang, good flash away there. I mean, honestly had to at that point.
It is a good flash. No one really losing health, however, from the side of Team WE. So these baits are becoming more serious, becoming more genuine. The threat is becoming much more real. And OMG, Xiang has to flash the result of the first one. What happens the second time is always going to be the question. First things first, though, reset your minion wave. Set yourself up to walk over to the Baron at all and continue that pressure as it starts to mount up. And here they go the second time. This one could be an actual Baron if OMG don't look.
It's already down to about half. World 6 is around the backside. In comes the Ezreal ultimate. It has been spotted by OMG. In come the cats as well. This one's about to accelerate. World 6 actually slammed against the wall. In comes Fight to try and protect him, but it's to turn into a full-blown fight. Xie gets the kill onto the AD carry, and the Lee Sin's dead in the pit currently. He's about to come back up, but Xie hopping in and out of the fight, looking for these snipes on top of someone, and in comes another Battle Star, obliterating the jungler. Icon falls as well, and Xiang, what's a poor Maokai to do in this situation but stand here and take it? He'll jump onto the backline, but the stopwatch is still available for Xie from the start of the game, because of course it is. 4 kills over to Team WE.
There's just so much damage from Xie. He plays the fight so expertly. Team WE, with a decent amount of health still on the tanks, are going to walk over to the Baron. Xie has to contribute all of the damage. A very disjointed start to the fight is what I would describe that one as for Team WE. However, the end result is honestly as expected. The Baron's going to follow, and now they're set up to succeed in the coming fights.
Yeah, I was about to say, oh, Xie playing a bit risky there, going towards the Baron. Just kidding, you just smited it for his health back. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Xie goes back to base.
Melon, can you just smite the Baron for a minute?
Real quick,
What
that'd be
for?
fantastic.
Just trust smite the Baron for a minute. I need your smite.
Why is that a thing? But Team WE, they are so far ahead now. 5,000 gold lead. They have the Baron. They're ready to run it down mid or somewhere. And it's about to get real hairy for OMG.
Well, bot lane's already got a wave mounting up. Chelly's going to have to clear that one out.
Sure.
And all of the vision is still there for Team W on the top side of the rift. However, you're looking at 957 up there. I would personally put Nah down towards the bottom side of the map. Maybe utilize that a bit more strongly as a point where OMG have to respond. 2 teleports are still available, but in a 4v4 situation without either top laner, you still want to be WE. You still want to have the sleepy trouble mode.
Sure, and I take a step back and I look at this game, and I look towards specifically OMG, and it's like, it very much looks like you guys have just been drawn into a Team WE game. And why is that the case? Because that is not your identity, it's not your style, this is not what we know you for. We expect you to go in, go hard, but it seems like you just got spooked by the fact that Icon lost mid. He was like, okay, let's just farm until 60. And that's not what I want to see from OMG, and it's not how OMG beat Team WE.
Yeah, that's not how they beat them, but the answer to that question I feel like is quite simply that they just weren't able to win lanes. And whether that is the lack of jungle intervention or if it's just the fact that they've got nerves even for some players, first time on stage, first time that this roster of OMG have played. They're against the semi-finalists at Worlds, like maybe some of them do actually have those nerves.
Come on, Rusty, these are the rock stars of the LPL. OMG, you think of any team that this team is going to have butterflies against WE?
Chelly might.
Okay, Chelly, but like he's did fine in laning phase. It was more about the top side of the map that was really the one suffering.
I think it's much more about draft, though, as the biggest problem. Zoe having control of mid. I know we've been harping on Zoe a lot, but Nah also having a control as a top laner in the matchup. In the bottom lane, Xayah Braum never going to die, always going to be perfectly fine. And that just means that the junglers, they can choose to make a play, but the risk is so high, even though the reward is there, that the one time you make a play and there's no reward, WE just walk away with it.
Oh, this is almost disastrous. In comes a Cataclysm, and Melon will just finish off Jelly because he was down at 10% from a Battle Star and a Sleepy Trouble bubble. 957 in with the old sweep, but a nice dodge, as you said, from Icon. Xiang's just getting battered down from Xie, and a knock-up, a knock-down, and Xie will find himself a second kill of this engagement, this siege that's happening right now on top of OMG. And to be honest, we're just looking towards Game 2 at this point, as Team WE, they start taking down the Nexus turret, start dismantling the base from OMG. All right, now, I would say just keep your scorelines alive, but we're going to try and pull a last-ditch defense anyway on OMG, and Xiang's like, yeah, nah, let's actually just go back onto the spawn pad, shall we? As the Nexus goes down, Team WE take Game 1.
From a pretty clean performance, honestly, out of the Team WE roster. It does take them a long time, but as if you're surprised, the Team WE games extend out from where they have a lead, from where they have control. Just be that little bit longer. The problem and the quarrel never lies with Team WE's performance, as more so their opponents of OMG, who didn't even try and take the desperation fight, who didn't try and make the aggressive play that you know and love from them to turn the game around or to even get back to equal. They went for a pick at one stage, and it was just a pick. There was no objective to be gained from it. And from then, we just watched OMG slowly but surely lose the game, get whittled away even more by what Zoe was doing from Xie.
I mean, it was exactly that for me, Rusty. It was just, it looked like OMG had the wind kicked out of them. And that's just not what I expect from OMG. I would like to see them do something in Game 2 and just go back to a previous style. I actually think of any of the junglers right now, I would look towards someone like World 6 and be like, yes, you are the guy to ignite the fire, ignite the passion that OMG is really about. But he got a couple kills and just kind of sat back as well. And you can see in the gold graph, that was a very stable game, like barely 1,000 gold in it for maybe half an hour.
Yeah, the gold never really reflected the lead that WE had, or at least felt like they had, and of course both teams can't see the goal difference. It still felt like from watching the game that WE had control. I would contribute firstly a lot of that to the vision that Team WE had. I think their vision control was far better than that of OMG, who pretty much had none, especially offensive vision. It was all just defensive within themselves, and from there it's like with that feeling of control, OMG played like they were behind and never took those chances.
Control is the key word, because yes, I think if OMG were just like, we're only 1,000 gold behind, maybe we can actually look for a fight here. The game would have played out differently, but I don't know what it was, but it was shot calling, as you said. Maybe it was nerves for the AD carry of Cherry, but for me, it was really about that top side that was suffering in that game. So we just need to see something different. Definitely a Zoe ban. I feel like that is #1 on the docket. Yeah. Ban the Zoe. And then Icon do something else in the mid lane, because yes, he got target banned, but he knew he was picking to that Zoe.
Shockingly, the conclusion that we had was ban Zoe from a game like this. I think Xie also played it exceptionally for what it's worth, so not only is the champion ban-worthy, but don't give it to Xie ever again.
The guy playing it was also exceptionally good at the champions. Well, either way, that's it from us. We're going to send it over to the caster, or rather the analyst desk, we're the caster desk, to look at how that game went and look towards the second game.
Thank you, Paul, for bringing it back to the caster analyst caster desk. We're going to break down that game really shortly, but just want to let everyone know back at home that we understand there are some technical difficulties with the audio on the caster side, and we're working as best we can to try and get them fixed, and they should be good to go for the next match. But let's go straight to this game, and I know the first thing that we really want to talk about is this little champion in the mid lane named Zoe.
Oh. Isn't it terrifying when the murderer like skips after you? Like when he hit Azir with the trouble bubble, and he immediately was the flash cleanse, and Zoe was just like calmly like jump skipping after. Adorable.
I mean, yeah, this is pretty much that replay right there. Sia getting first blood onto Icon, and that's horrifying.
And this just really hits the nail in the coffin. Like, honestly, right from the beginning, because the entire composition of OMG rallies behind Azir. Azir is their pushing point in the map. The entire matchup from Azir versus Zoe is Zoe should always be at her tower, because you just trade through the wave, you push constantly. But that's not going to happen when Zoe just has that kind of advantage against you.
And the thing is there are options to Zoe. She hasn't been as high priority as someone like Camille in the LPL. You know, sometimes she even just slips through ban phase or isn't banned until second phase. And the thing is you have champions like Azir, like Ryze, who can compete with that pushing power, or even just lock her down and kill her if you're Ryze. But I feel like when something goes that wrong early on, like, you completely lose all control. You no longer have the push, you're no longer going to get the other rotation, and effectively Icon had to make that call. You know, he's the guy who says, it's fine, give them Zoe, I'm Azir, and he tried to write a check that his ego couldn't cash. You know what I mean? Like, this is classic Icon, where he lets a power pick like that go through because he just thinks that he's good enough, and he fell over.
And you can tell how bad it was, because a minute afterwards, you know, obviously Azir comes back into the lane, almost dies again. He barely comes out, but you can tell that at this point forward, there's no control in the mid lane from that point forward from OMG. And OMG has no pushing power, it's all in Azir. Meanwhile, WE, they have Gnar, who wins out that top lane, is able to push up against the Maokai. In the bottom lane, you have Xayah, and if Zoe has freedom like that in the lane, then it feels like a snowball, because that's what it is.
And the nature of Zoe's kit, no champion in the game, and I will say this like definitively, snowballs as hard as Zoe. Just because when you snowball for, you get so much vision control, you're moving around the map, whose kit is more punishing of lack of vision than someone who can pick you from like 3 screens away 100-0 instantly?
Yep, well, Zoe was used to great success in that match. We'll have to see if there's going to be any adaptation going into game number 2, whether it's taken away, because we see it banned out quite a bit. But we also saw Unsealed Spellbook Shen coming to the lane. We know that Shen has been a great support pick internationally and has been, you know, creeping up in Season 8, but Unsealed Spellbook surprisingly being picked up by a lot of supports.
Yeah, a lot of tank support specifically, because you can go into Resolve and secondary tree, and you're just as tanky because you got the HP from the Inspiration tree as well.
You actually get more HP. You get 145 instead of 115.
Exactly. So it feels really nice to have that as a support, and you saw how many TP plays the Shen was able to make on that one, so it felt like he was impacting the rest of the map, just wasn't enough.
He was literally like the goalkeeper. Like, he took the free boot, so he got the added movement speed, and then he had the Ionian boots on top of it. So he takes Unsealed Spellbook. He already gets the CDR cooldown on his summoner spells. He then goes Boots of Ionia, and then he grabs the other keystone, or the other mastery in that tree. Like, the dude was all over the map. He was basically a goalkeeper, and OMG had no defense. So the ball keeps coming at him, and Five's trying to catch what he got. He's like blocking Zoe Q's in the mid lane. He's teleporting bot lane, trying to get up top lane. It didn't matter.
Well, he tried his best to stop them from scoring, but unfortunately it was Team W that were able to pick up the victory in that match. We're going to go into a really quick break. We'll be back with Game 2 shortly.